xamante ne mu ngi xew ci réew mi te ndaw yi fes ci lool ñu jàpp ne war nañ cee def taxaw seetlu waxtaanee ko ci réew mi te ponk boobu lañ indi xam naa nag dina am solo bu baax tamit ci kanam ñu bokk waxtaan bi ak yéen ñu déggee ci yéen comme ni ñu koy defee bu ñu ubbee ci line bi line si ngeen mun a call waaye laataa ñu see sori rek ñu dal di dalal ki nga xamante ne mooy Mr Piaro di Superintendent Lamin Ndiaye mu nuyoo ñu soog a ñu dugg ci biir programme bi Mr Piaro it's another Tuesday and good evening and thank you so very much for joining us and it's good to have you back again to talk about some very important security matters in the country.
Thank you so much, Amadou. Greetings to you again as we are back into the program again to continue discussions. It's like we want to start with paying respect to the viewers and followers of this important program and to all viewers of the iAfrica television. And in fact, to extend greetings from the Office of the Inspector General of Police and Deputy Inspector General of Police and the police senior management, to all, specifically the iAfrica TV, and also to all the viewers and followers of the iAfrica TV, particularly those people who follow this important program. Like you have said, today we will continue the discussion from where we stopped. Of course, this is a continuation, even though the topics may differ a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because it's very important that when we have critical issues of security concerns, it's good that we bring them up and discuss them.
Certainly.
Of course, like you have said, this topic perhaps we have discussed it some time ago, and so again we are coming back again to talk about it because it is definitely concerning.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we'll have to continue talking about it.
Indeed.
Hopefully people will listen, hopefully some minds and hearts will be changed, and hopefully the information will be disseminated so that we will have a society free from one-on-one violence, knife crime and stabbing incidents.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so very much, Mr. Piaro. And by the way, like you said, iAfrica TV is always and very much committed to this cause and also partnering with the Gambia Police Force in making sure that the public is aware and informed in how some of these crimes can be coped in our societies. So we are talking about stabbing, community stabbing, if you like. It's becoming very prevalent in this country nowadays. Of course, like Piaro said some time ago, we have discussed about it. For one reason or the other, it has, of course, died down somehow, one can say. But recently, it has been again coming up and happening frequently in different parts of the country. And it is for that reason why we want to bring back the topic and discuss it with you, the Gambian people. And that is why we are here again this morning. Also, of course, this evening, I should say, I'm carried away by the One Africa program. But then, let's go straight to the discussion, Mr. Jai. I know, of course, we would later on, of course, switch in the local language as we always do. But then, here again, we are talking about a very delicate issue, a very sensitive matter. Community stabbing. Mostly young people are involved. But before, of course, we probably go more detail into the topic itself, just bring us up to speed on the latest occurrences of stabbings of course, in the communities.
Very well. Yeah. In recent time, just to recall, we've few days ago, I think on the 8th of this month, we've received reports about the stabbing of the young auditor at the National Audit Office. The incident happened around the Palmarima beach area, where some individuals came out in order to rob him from his properties. They have decided to attack and stab him multiple times, and that resulted to his demise.
Which was very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, of course. And so they flee the scene and left, and so eventually this individual was rushed to the hospital and he was pronounced dead. And the police did investigate into that case swiftly, and so even though the perpetrators left the scene, they have fled to different areas of that vicinity. Investigators followed the case for the following day, and they were able to recover an envelope that belongs to the deceased. The envelope contains notebook and some copies of air tickets that was thrown at a football field around Bakote. Then another bag of him was also discovered at a street in Bakote, which contains his passports, ID cards, and ATM cards, and so on. And that tells the investigators that people who have done this crime must be within this vicinity. And so this calls for intensifying patrols around the beach and also around Bakote. And that really paid off. And so some suspects were arrested. They were taken through a series of interviews and interrogations until the police were able to arrest the principal suspect and also his accomplice. 3 other people who also joined in the attack also were also arrested as well. And the murder weapon also was also recovered, plus all the very important evidential materials relating to the matter. So they are being charged now as we speak, and they are being arraigned before the court as well. As we move away from that, then a day or two, another incident happened again. That happened at the Bruford Beach. I'm sure you are aware of it as well, where another individual was stabbed. In fact, what we gathered so far from the preliminaries was such that the boy was fighting with a friend of him, this principal suspect. According to him, the boy was fighting with another person, and so he joined in to take part of his friend. And so that resulted to him stabbing this boy with a pair of scissors. And then he ran away from the scene. And so also the same thing happened. The police quickly investigated and they were able to arrest both of them. What happened was the issue of mob justice that happened following that case, which we definitely are concerned with as well. We want to add voice to let people understand that the police are on top of the issues, and cases like this are no joke for the police. That's why we swiftly always act to ensure that people who are perpetrators are arrested and investigated and evidence gathered to put them before the court, so that the rule of law will take its course, justice will take its course. Individual perpetrators will also face justice as well, as quick as possible. But this also calls for us to caution people, even though sometimes these issues raise angers and sentiments and emotions. We definitely understand that, but we want people to exercise restraint and patience, so that allow justice to take its course, allow the rule of law and its processes to continue, so that the laws that we have put in place to deal with this kind of situation in a peaceful and harmonious coexistence will take their course, and then the individuals will be dealt with accordingly.
Interesting, and it's good that you have, informed us some of these very fortunate incidents that happened that led to the loss of lives of very young Gambians, which are very regrettable and unfortunate as well. And like you said, this, of course, in a way, would trigger some unnecessary reactions from the public, and from leading to mob justice and all that. And of course, eventually, like it happened, and of course, it's very concerning to the police. And again, it's good to remind the people, especially the young ones, in whatever might happen or the case might be, it's always important, like you said, to allow the law to take its course, but no one should take the law into their own hands.
Very well. Like, in fact, we have done a program here on mob justice some time ago, and these were some of the issues we were raising. But importantly, we need to re-echo this, because I don't know where it is the democracy, the concept or the misconception of democracy that made people to think that when things happen, they should just be emotional and act according to their temperaments, and so that brings us also into other situations again. And that's why even in this incident, we have about 14 people that are arrested by the police for attacking and vandalizing property belonging to the General Bojang, because they believe the boy is from his home, and so they went in there unlawfully, vandalized vehicles and properties there as well. So they are also under police custody, and they will also be prosecuted for that. So, which is why it's important for us to exercise restraint, because emotional as you are, if you act according to your emotion, it's like you're putting yourself into another trouble. Although already this other matter is ongoing, and this person has already committed this offense, and that one is being processed, but you also, because of your temperament or your emotions that you followed, and or your anger, you have also landed yourself into another trouble. So we want people to definitely exercise restraint and allow the justice process to take its course.
All right, maybe at this point, Mr. Piaro, probably we need to talk about probably the causes of this kind of incident in this country, because like I mentioned at the beginning, it's becoming too much again, so frequent in the country. And one may argue the police have been very proactive in doing their line of work and make sure that they will curb some of these kind of incidents. But here again, after some time, everybody thinks that the situation is under control. But again, it's popping up. It's happening again. Why do you think these young people, in particular, are more involved in such kind of incidents?
You see, all the time, our concern is to ensure that the root causes of these issues are being dealt with, because crime is a societal phenomenon, and as long as people are within a society, there's bound to be some form of crime. And definitely, if the security are able to win their way, there would have been no crime at all.
Absolutely.
But it happens that that might be a very difficult situation. But importantly, if you look at the dynamics of the crime trends in the Gambia, recently especially, pointing to the stabbing incidents and the killings that happened through these stabbings, you will realize that it calls for the Gambian society to re-interrogate itself, because our observations and our experience is such that it's young people, very, very young people that are involved in these stabbing incidents. Some 18, the oldest perhaps will be 18 years old, but you have some that are up to like 15 years, 14 years, in fact, below that. So that calls for us to, we as a society need to go back to the drawing board, because we know drug is involved, because some of them, it's only after 2 days after you have them in detention that they will even realize what they have done, because of the intoxication.
Which is very pathetic.
When you arrest them in the first instance, it's even difficult to interview them. So you have to allow them to cool off until the intoxications go off, then you can be able to interview them. So that tells you that serious drug usage and abuse is involved. Then also we know that we understand that young people like that are supposed to be school going, or they are into some skills training or some things like that. So you understand that parental guidance and care also is lacking a lot also. It's like here now you have people at 11 years, 12 years, and their parents are like, I can't do anything about this one. Sometimes even if you have them arrested and you call for the parents, say minor offenses, you call for parents to come to bail or secure their release, they will not show up. They will be like, I have not seen him for the past 1 month, or I have not seen him for the past 2 weeks or so, so I don't think I want to come over to the police station. So it calls for parents also to take responsibility. And perhaps society, some time ago, if you look at Gambia, you will realize that the community used to raise the child. Everybody is part and parcel of raising the child. Everybody is contributing. You get bitten by this person, you can't even go to report to the other person. That kind of communalism used to exist in the Gambia. But it looks like we're drifting away from that. And so that also is creating a lot of children on the street as well. And that's why we see a lot of them involved into these situations. And so that's another thing, really. So the discipline also, you see, the parenting and also the discipline as well.
This all goes down to the parental responsibility, like you said, and peer influence as well. Because these are all contributions, or probably the root causes of this kind of incidents.
If they take drugs, most of the time they are having the seizures to cut the cannabis into pieces, or the small knives to treat the cannabis or some other drugs they're having. And so when they go into dispute, during the view where they are, some minor disputes, some minor arguments, because they are intoxicated at the time, so they will use these small arms that they are having to quickly use against each other. So that's like a one-on-one violence issues happening within the ghetto or within their midst. So it calls for us to definitely, as a society, go back to the drawing board and ensure that we go back to basics. Ensure that some time ago the way the discipline was, perhaps let's find new or innovative ways of doing those things.
Absolutely. I know before we talk about prevention, just listening to how you explain maybe some of the causes, I mean, and the roles that parents need to play in developing or grooming or molding these the youth, I should say, and this have to start at the family level. And they, of course, because sometimes, you know, when these young people go out there, have their friends who normally influence them to get to some issues that might lead you to do things like this. But then maybe we talk about the role of the police in this entire process, or when such kind of things happen. How would the police do to make sure that they handle such kind of cases before we talk about the medications? Or does this come as a challenge again for the police to deal with kind of issues, especially if parents are not willing to come forward, you know, in maybe what, like you said, to take up responsibilities?
Very well. Yeah. You know, the police being law enforcement, we also have a deterrence component, that's prevention component of what we do as well. That's why we do this kind of programs to talk to the general public about the existence of these situations and find ways of sensitizing people so that people can prevent and, you know, deter that perhaps people who are conscious enough to understand what we talk about to be able to serve as deterrents for them to be involved in any of these situations. That is one thing that we do, because preventing crime is one of our fundamental responsibility also, and so that's why we try as much as possible to reach out to people using the mass media, which is why we also keep commending the iAfrica TV also. There's also a great deal of community policing as well to help prevent others from getting into this kind of situation. But also we have to deal with the cases as well, which is why we intervene, arrest individual suspects or perpetrators, prosecute them as well in the courts, so that they will also get the retribution that they deserve, or perhaps after they have been prosecuted and sentenced, then they are taken to the correctional facilities, so that at the end of the day they can reform and get back to become better people within society. So these are all layers of roles that we play within this whole situation. But I must point out something which is very important. The notion that police should discipline people's kids for them is very rife among people in the Gambia. Okay, if you cannot be disciplined at home, you'll be disciplined on the streets by the police. Well, really, I don't think we do disciplining.
I think it's not unfortunate
because that's
that
very
people
difficult.
Are,
it's very difficult to discipline somebody's children or somebody's child, because the role of the police is to enforce law, and so these laws are very well stipulated, and it's very clear what is needed to be done at what point in time. So it's not like, okay, this is Lamin's child, so I as a police officer should be there for Lamin to ensure that the child is raised. That's not my job really. So, but parents need to take that responsibility to raise their children, discipline them. Of course, police officers are also individuals, and they live within communities and they also contribute their fathers, their brothers, their uncles, and so on and so forth. And so that communal responsibility is of course there. But the job of the policeman as a law enforcement officer is to deal with the law, apply the law, enforce the law, and things like that. So we want to call on parents to take responsibility.
Absolutely, that's a great one. And maybe at this juncture, I need to remind you that if you are just joining us, you are watching the Police Show Talk Show right here on iAfrica TV, and we are here on every Tuesday from 6 p.m. local time to 7 p.m. to talk about security matters in the country and you know, deal with other related police activities in the country as well. And today we are talking about community stabbing or the frequent stabbing incidents that are happening in the country, and which have becoming more or less a concern for everyone. Again, at some point it was happening, we were here talking about it, and thank God it yielded results, because it have died down somehow. But again, of recent, like the PRO have just highlighted you of, several cases that happened. So we should all be very much careful and be vigilant as well. And the parents in particular have a great deal to play in this. And in a moment we should also declare the lines open, but also switch into the local language. But you talk about courts matters, and that is a very fundamental area that I also want us to discuss about, because in sometimes people will give again that the police will arrest somebody and then after a while he's been taken to the courts and then he'll be released or granted a bail and all that. You go there and commit a heinous crime somehow, and barely 2-3 weeks after, you are seen against walking free on the streets.
Very well.
People might be concerned, what's happening? Is the police doing their job? How does, these things normally happen? You get us understand.
Yeah, this is why it is important for us to understand the criminal justice system, which is the police, the judiciary, and the correctional facility, that's the prison. Yeah. And so each of these institutions have a point to start and a point to stop. Yeah. Say, for example, the police, we are in the law enforcement front. We arrest according to the laws, we investigate, we gather the evidence, and then we prosecute the offender or the perpetrator at the courts. And once the person is convicted, the sentencing guidelines, the sentencing limitations and so on are entirely in the hands of the court. That's the judiciary. And so we do not determine that. How long the person stays in jail, we don't determine that. How long the person, or what sort of punishment to be meted on that person, depending on the offense committed or the crime committed, we don't determine that. And so we want people to have more understanding of the system, so that there are offenses that are bailable offenses. Even at the police level, say police have 72 hours to detain somebody and investigate that person. If he commits an offense which is a bailable offense and the investigation is prolonged, it's taking more than 72 hours, obviously the police need to put that person on bail. And bail does not mean the case is done and dusted, which is something people need to understand also. A lot of times when you bail, people say, oh, you don't even inform us and you just go on and bail this person. But the bail is also according to the law, because it's a fundamental right of that person, that within 72 hours the person is supposed to be granted bail. And so that is also in line with the law. And so
because keeping that person in detention after the 72 hours also means the police are also breaching the
of course, exactly. So which is why the police does not want to be found wanting of breaking the law in the application of the law. Certainly. So that's why we definitely want people to understand the processes. But also there are offenses which are not bailable. And then you hear people, they say these things so easily. This person just killed, but tomorrow, the next day you will see him outside. And this, we keep using these rhetorics and this information within our misomo, so we fill our heads with it. And to a certain extent that even contributes to the mob justice issues as well. But consciously we need to understand that capital offenses that are not bailable, a person cannot get bail from the police. I mean, it would sound very funny for somebody to stab someone with a knife and kill this individual, get arrested by the police, tomorrow the police release that person, or next day and get the person walking on the street. No. But if this person is put before the court and the court decides the sentencing as to how long he stays in jail, and after serving the sentence the person is out, obviously that's the law also.
That's the law again.
That's the law also.
And that's what,
and that's not determined by the police.
Absolutely.
As well. So we need to understand, and we want to implore on the public to do more research and more understanding of the processes, so that will help us a lot. But also importantly, we call on people to come forward and willingly give witness testimonies and form part of evidences in criminal prosecutions, because that's a challenge for the police also. Because sometimes you arrest individuals, you bring them to the police station, because citizens have right to arrest. Everybody have right to arrest if you find somebody committing an offense, especially a criminal offense. So if you do that arrest and come to the police station, deliver this individual, you also have to write your witness statement, and many other people who are witnesses to that situation should also write their witness statements, so that the police will have enough evidence to convict that person in court.
You see, as the saying goes, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So that's why we're here, wanting to make sure that all of us are informed in the best possible ways we can, to make sure that we would, know what we should do at the appropriate time, in helping to deal with some of these very troubling moments in our societies, because they are very, very concerning as well. So at this juncture, of course, I would say, you can call us and contribute if you want. The numbers numbers, as always, 2323213 are the numbers you can call in and have your say and contributions as well. If you have any concern or queries that you want the PRO to clarify or address, probably you can call in. Of course, ask, he would really and happily do that for you, and for free, by the way, I have to say. su ko defee rek mbokk yi ñu dal di continuer waxtaan bi comme ni ñu koy defee saa su ne ñu yaatal ko teen kon ni ma ko waxee woon ci ndorte bi te ñu ngi waxtaan li nga xamante ne mooy li am solo ci jamono ji mooy parce que nag ñu ngi gis lu doy waar luy xew ci community bi mooy suñ gox-goxaat yi ci nuñ dëkkee jamante bi nit ñi yaa ngi gaañu ñàkk seen bakkan ci loolu Piaro joxe na ay incident yi nga xamante ne xew na loolu lañ nekk di waxtaanee tey su ko defee ñu ànd ak Piaro mu gën a leeral ci li nga xamante ne mooy ci yenn yi nga xamante ne waxtaan nañ ko ci angale waaye tamit ñu wax rek ku bugg a call pour bugg a bokk ci waxtaan bi mun ngeen jaar ci line si mu ngi doon si screen bi 2323213 fi ngeen mun a jaar pour joxe seen contribution seen xalaat wala li ngeen munta yokka ci programme bi dañ koo rafetlu lool pour déggee ci yéen tamit su ko defee Piaro ñuy waxtaan li nga xamante ne nekkul lu bees ci programme bi ñu ko waxtaane am na jamono bi nga xamante ne waxtaan nañ ko fii ba sant yàlla mun nañu wax ne juróon na li nga xamante ne mooy jàmm bu rëy ci réew mi waaye tamit dafa mel ni lu ñu doon waxtaane mu ngi ñëwaat mooy jamante bi surtout xale yi ñoom ñoo ci gën a bëri ñi yasee nit ñi ñu am na ñi nga xamante ñu ngi cee ñàkk seen bakken mu nekk lu doy waar lan lañ ci mën a jàpp ci li nga xamante ni mooy ci ay xew-xew yi nga xamante xew na bu yàggul ba tax ñu bëri ñu ngi tiitagum jamono ji tamit ci mbir mi nu moo demee.
Yeah, before even I go into that, I just want to highlight some few tips that we can use in preventing actually. This does not necessarily mean to say, okay, people are not supposed to go out at night, but it's good that we know what time we go out, especially during odd hours, and which area we visit. It's good to avoid lonely streets, areas that are definitely very lonely, and it's going to be difficult if you need assistance. To get assistance will be difficult during the night or during odd hours. It's good for people to avoid those areas. And not necessarily mean don't go out and take care of your business. Of course, people can go out and take care of their business. But if you know there's an area which is very lonely and it could be used as a hideout for these criminals and so on, please, it's good that you try avoid such kind of areas. The second tip that we like to share also is for people to not expose their valuables. Sometimes the way you expose your valuables also attracts criminal opportunists to get to you to react in such a way, because we have what we call the crime triangle. So you have a skilled criminal, you have an opportunity, and the individual is going to explore that opportunity to get to you. So it's important that sometimes you see people with mobile phones, because these kids now, a small thing like a mobile phone, they can just get out, try to take it forcefully from you and stab you. So it's good that even the phone that you have, you keep it such that you do not attract attention on the phone. And the other thing is to do is people with vehicles. When you lock your vehicle, raise the glasses, lock the vehicle properly. But also, if you have valuables inside the vehicle, maybe you put them under the chair or you remove them and go with them. Because the next person that just peep through your glasses and see the nice laptop lying down on the chair or the expensive phone.
Great. I think that's a good one, but I understand we have a first caller on the line. Let's bring the person on. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, where are you calling us from, and who's on the line, please?
I'm calling from Bakau.
Okay.
Yes, basically I want to contribute to the program.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, just to highlight that this is a very important program, and also to state that in as much as you have the police, people should also be very concerned that their personal security is something they need to prioritize.
Indeed.
In the sense that you cannot have police everywhere. And again, the people within the communities also have to be vigilant. That is why we have the police have been talking about this community policing issue. That everybody's police and the police and the community, you've been hearing this notion. It is not to say said in a vacuum. It is said for a reason. And one of the reasons is that people need to be vigilant and help the police in providing security for them. So if you have a child at home and he keeps going out all the time, you give him weapons. Or anytime he goes, you are not even concerned what time he goes, what time he comes, and what he goes with.
Absolutely.
So obviously, you cannot expect the police to see people in the street and begin to search them, whether they have knives or not, or they have cutlasses.
Sure.
Because as far as I know, having a knife is not a crime. Anybody can have a knife. But what you do with it is what becomes an issue. But looking at those kids, having knives inside their pockets all the time in their bags, you have to be suspicious.
Yeah.
And the parents have to make sure that they inculcate this attitude of responsibility in the kids, so that the kids will understand that certain things cannot be done irresponsibly. Going to the beaches, going to communities, going to nightclubs, yes, you can do that, but you must do some of these things responsibly. And the parents will have to understand that they have a role to play. It's not just the police. The police cannot be everywhere.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the things that we have to understand, that, policing a community is not just the responsibility of the police. People have to also be concerned, people have to be wary, people have to be suspicious about certain happenings within their environment.
Yeah, sure.
They take care of their personal security. Their personal security is their individual responsibility.
Indeed.
So this is just what I wanted to contribute, and I think it's important that I just throw this out there so that we all can brainstorm over it and see where we have gone wrong and how we can actually re-strategize and see that we have a crime-free society.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you indeed. A fantastic contribution there from him, and we greatly appreciate it. And, you can equally do the same. Piaro, a very good one.
I think it's important because he mentioned something that's very critical, and that is for people to be conscious of their personal security, which is why we are mentioning the tips for personal security. If you are vigilant and observant of some of these issues that we are mentioning, that will go a long way in preventing or helping you to stay away from issues like this. I want to just add the fact that even though people are free to go to the beach to enjoy themselves and so on, we also want to share the fact that it's good that you stay in close proximity with a particular group, such that if in case you needed help, it's just going to be easily you can call and people will get to where you are and then they can intervene. But if you look at our beach sites also, there are certain areas that are very way apart from people. If you go so far away around that area, if people come out and they try to attack you.
Yeah, we have another caller on the line. Let's bring the caller on. Hello, caller. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Waaw dama bëgg a contribuer seen programme.
Jërëjëf kàlla ak foo ñoo koole.
Man maa ngi tudd Thiam, maa ngi koole jàng.
Oh, ok, ñu ngi lay déglu.
Waaw sama mando yi roos yi ndee naan ni ay waxal kay bi ne yëpp yow da gaay de da self control support man loolu laa lay am pour wax en xam naa yëpp naka la ko demee te gaay ñu toog foofu noonu seetaan ñëpp fii la nekk
okay.
All
right. Jërëjëf. Thank you. Yes, you were talking about something very important.
Yeah, like I said, it's important, of course, at that beach side that we have the tourism security unit, and they provide security around the beach. They patrol the beach. They also have checkpoints to check on people who goes to the boats, to the beach. If they highly suspect that you are carrying something, they even stop and search at certain instances, even though some people consider that as harassment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to go and enjoy myself, and then you buy But that's all because they want to ensure that people go to the beach without these small arms in their pockets, because they could use this against other people. But importantly also, for the sake of personal security, like the caller mentioned, if you are within the beach area, ensure that you are at close proximity with a particular group. Not necessarily you know them also, but for your personal safety. In case anything happens, you can easily call for help and then assistance will be given. But if you stay so far away from people, at a certain place when they come out, before you shout for help or before anybody hears, it takes a long time, and so they could harm you in a certain way.
Great one.
Obviously, this does not necessarily mean that people are not free, they cannot go about, but we are talking about prevention, so definitely people need to.
Yeah, and of course the first call have said it, people also have to own up, have to take up their responsibilities, and I think that's very important. It's good that you touched on that prevention. I wanted us to conclude with it, but it's good you have also, bring it on. But time is not on our side. Let's bring it quickly summarize in the local language as well.
Amadou, comme ni ko nekkee di wax rek, dafa mel ni am na solo trop pour ñu xool si wàllum tafaar yi, especially tafaarum jamante paaka bi, parce que gis nañ ne fan yile am na ñaari case yoo xam ne dafa am ay ndaw yoo xam ne dañ am jam ñeneen ñi paaka. Su ko defee nag loolu am na solo trop pour ñu gestu si. Parce que loolu lu doy waaru la. Yéen lu bari nit yi dañ dee wax léegi reyante bi bari na, waaye foog ñu toog tamit ñu xool reyante yi naka lañ dee xewee ak nan ñoo ko dee def ak lu tax ñu ko dee def parce que soo gisee crime tafaar dafa bari te dafa uutee tamit so waaye nag doo xoolee lu ñoo am nii mooy suñ ndaw yi ñoo xam ne xale yoo xam ne ñu ngi am ay 14 years 15 years or less than 18 years or little above 18 years yoo xam ne sax yaa ngi yaakaar ne dañ war a nekk si school bi di jàng wala ñu si métier bi di jàng dara loo xam ne na leen jëriñ si ëllëg si waaye ñu ngi si beach yi wala ñu si club yi wala ñu si street bi di jamante paaka foofu noonu so lu ko gën lu dee tax sax li gën a bari sax soo xoolee da ngaa suñ expérience mooy da ngaa gis ne ñu bari ñu ko dee def dañ dee laal drogue su ko defee nag suñ ko laalee ñaareel mbir fa nekk soo ko amee problème la parce que soo ko laalee doo am ànd ak sa sago waaye soo ko amut tamit da nga koo dee bëgg a am te mun ngaa def lu nekk mun ngaa jël mobile jàmbur mun ngaa jël tafaar yooyu noonu def tafaar yooyu noonu pour nga am xaalis pour nga dem jënda nga am drogue bi so loolu moo tax drogue bi daf si am solo torop waaye tamit waajur yi tamit foog ñu jël seen matuwaay ak seen taxawaay tamit pour ñu gis ne xale yi yar nañ leen teg leen ci kaw yoon parce que xale yi yoo xam ne ay 11 years 12 years nga dégg waajur yi ne ak yi moom kay mënaluma ko
mënatuma si moom dara
soo leen téye si police station bi sax nga ne xam nga loi bi su fekkee soo ñëwee si xale yi loi bi nu mu traité xale yi daf leen jox ay cër tamit su ko defee statement yi xale bi sax soo ko buggee jël at the police level foog nga am waajur wala koo xam ne dafa toog pour mu déglu lu xale bi di wax ñoo fekkee ko daanaka waaye nag ñoom soo leen oowee sax si téléphone ñu ne la ne kii mut na weer gisuñ ko wala mun na ñaari semaine gisuñ ko so loo leen si mun def leen loolu noonu so dafa mel ni moo tax maa ngi wax saa yu nekk dégg la police yi am nañ droit am nañ loi pour doxal waaye nekkuñ ne ñun ñooy yar doomi jàmbur xëy na loolu comme ni ma ko waxee woon police yi ñu ngi si kër yi ñoom tamit ay papa leen ay nijaay leen ay mag leen ak yooyu noonu waaye nag pour ne dañoo taxaw si seen liggéey di gis ne ñoom ñooy yar doomi jàmbur loolu dafa jafe te
loolu lu ci doy waar léegi-léeg nga dégg ci kër yi nga dégg waajur yi di wax ne boo nanguut ñu yar la boo demee ci mbedd bi yar la wala police yar la te loolu mu nekk xale bi bu màggee ak loolu moo ko waajuram di ko wax dafay am ni moo mel bi li nga xamante ne dafa dem ba moom day jàpp ne sax kenn mënatu ci moom dara tax
keroog maa ngi ko doon waxtaane sax dafa am ku ma ne waaye xale waaye police yi sax contribute nañ si ñàkk a yari xale yi parce que child right yi ñu fi ñëw fii soo laalee sa doom rek ñu dem tëj la police ak
waaw yooyu moom waaw child right ak yooyu waaw
foog ñu understand tamit loi yooyu lan lañ ëmba lan lañ wax bul wax ne rek child right ñu ne bu kenn yar sa doom déedéet loolu loi bi waxul loolu doo xoolee dafa am ay métit yoo xam ne waajur yi dañ ko dee def seen doom loi dafa ñëw pour teral loolu noonu nga ne sa doom bi danga suspect ne daf dee jël nga gis ñoo xam ne dañ dee jël xale bi tees loo xam bi dugal ko si safara ñu ne
dañ koy lakka
soo lakkee sa loxo ëllëg si doo jël alalu jàmbur
definitely
nga wax ne xëy na éene bi mooy pour gis ne xale bi mu jàpp waaye téye loxo bi dugal ko si safara lakka ko foofu wala ñeneen ñi dañ ne takka xale yi ñu ne comme que yow su ma génnee da ngay génn di dem dox yi ji kon nga takka ko nga tëj ko si néeg bi doo ko jox lekka ceen ko foofu noonu doo ko jox lekka doo ko jox dara loolu abuse la loolu du
definitely
ak dóor yu métti yoo xam ne sax da nga dóor xale bi ba yaramam bi nàcc parce que gis nañ ñun police lañ nekk dañ dee gis cases yi dañ dee expérience yi am na waajur koo xam ne doon na xale bi ba kooku xom mu foog ne daf doon daanal boppam nii rek waaye eventually kooku foofu la gaañuwee tamit so abuse yooyu noonu loolu la loi bi bugg a teral waaye nag loi bi waxut ne bul yar sa doom foog nga taxaw si place boobu noonu nga yar doom bi nga won ko yoon nga teete ko nga su ko defee mu nekk koo xam ne daf laa ngëriñ si ëllëg
absolument loolu dafa am solo parce que tamit léegi ñeneen ñi nuñ dee yaree comme ni mu ko waxee dafay doy waar ay dóor ay lakka ak yu mel loolu moom xale bi tamit am na li nga xamante ne loi moo ko may su nekkul loi sax xel saa warta mun a nàng yenn yi yenn métital yi ñu ko def xale loolu dafa doy waar waaye ci loolu Piaro ñu ñëw ci taxawaay police bi yaa ngi ko doon wax ñu bari dañu wax ne police yi contribute nañ lu tax xale yi yaruwuñ ak yu mel noonu waaye ci yenn jafin yi nga xamante ne mu ngi am ci biir dëkk bi jamante yi ak réyante bi ban taxawaay la ci police war a def wala am ba gis ne loolu dañ ko gën a gis ñu gis mu wàññeeku bu fi mënta jógee ko parce que tamit ñu wax rek dëgg crime moom wala yenn yi nga xamante ne ñu ngi koo waxtaane pour mu jógee fi completely loolu dafay jafe wala du mun a nekk parce que nuñ dëkkee la ak nit doomi aadama nu mel waaye wàññi ko teg ay sart ak ay doxalin yi nga xamante ne dina tax ku koy def da nga xalaat ndaw yi tamit xam ne police bi mu ngi fi dañ fi nekk pour aar leen tamit moytu yenn jëfin yi nga xamante ne dañ ko def waaye surtout ci wàllum drogue bi parce que loolu tamit dafa ñu bari am nañ ci problème.
jërëjëf Amadou. loolu moo tax mu am solo trop. pour ñu rafetlu liggéey ay Africa TV parce que waxtaan bi sax. am na si taxawaay lu am solo. pour gis ne. nit ñuy toppa programme yu mel ni nga gis ne ñoom dinañ fagaru parce que fagaru ñu ne moo gën faju su ko defee nag di nga gis ne soo déggee waxtaan yi nii ngay jànga si su ko defee nag yow xëy na loolu dina tax ne yow doo dugga si problème yu ñoo wax nii su ko defee nag loolu am na solo trop police yi am nañ responsibility pour prevent mooy gis ne waxtaanee ak askan wi yeete leen diisoo ak ñoom su ko defee nag ñu prevent ñu avoid problème yu façon yi nii loolu si benn suñ responsibility loolu moo tax ñu ngi def waxtaan yi nii su ko defee nag ku ko dégga wow nekkul ne rek pour ñëw nettali lu xewoon démba wala barki démba waaye li am solo mooy pour ñu jànga si su ko defee tey yow mi ko dégga yow mi dégga programme bi yow sooy génn ëllëg nga xam naka ngay génne ñaareel bi mooy su dara xewee parce que ñu try nañ pour prevent ko waaye prévention xëy na mënuloo prevent yëpp comme ni nga ko waxee foo tafaar yi pocket of incidents yi ñu xew waaye suñ xewee nag li police responsibility mooy gis ne investigate nañ case yooyu noonu ñoo xam ne ñooy tafaarkat yi ñu tiyee leen ñu teg leen si kaw yoon su ko defee ñu yóbbu leen si ATK bi teg leen ab duma boo xam ne loolu lañ disaaf si liñ def foofu noonu su ko defee loolu tamit bokk na si liggéeyi police am na solo pour nit yi understand tamit ne liggéey police dañ soxla support askan wi tamit parce que cerne yu ñoo am loolu la ñoo teg si ATK bi si bëri nit yaay ne wax ne xam nga soo téyee nit nga yóbbu ko police te ëllëg rek nga gis ko muy génn di dem su ko defee ngay gis ñoo xam ne su dara xewee dañu mer dañoo ekkati seen xol yi su ko defee nag ñuy def yoo xam ne lu dul yu ñaaw la di waruta am waaw su ko defee sax second case boo xam ne moo xewoon Brufut gis nañ ñu dem si kër ñoom général Bojang di dem di yaxa di bugg a fayeeku di dem bugg a fayee seen bopp di jël luwaa si seen loxo te loolu moo tax ñu bugg a woon askan wi ñooñu am nañ fa fukk ak ñeneenti nit ñoo xam ne arrest nañ leen ba fu ñoo wax ni sax ñu si loxo police yi te ñooñu tamit dina leen teg si kanami ATK bi parce que dañ jël luwaa si seen loxo dem yaxa alali jàmbur te loolu am na ak luwaa so
waaw loolu mu nekk lu doy waar parce que li ma doon bëgg a wax rek mooy comme li nga wax ni nit ñi dañoo dem ba toll fi nga xamante ne comme ni nga ko waxee dañooy bëgg a fajal seen bopp te loolu dafay nekk lu doy waar waxoon nañ ko fii lu mun ta xew am na li nga xamante ne foog nit ki tamit am dal ànd ak sago xam ne lu ci munta am luwa am na ci yoon foog nit ñi toog ñu bàyyi muñ yoon muñ boobu na dafa am solo parce que tamit waaw
sarta yi ñoo fa nekk te sarta yooyu noonu muñ rek a tax ngay toppa sarta yooyu noonu ba nga gis ne kii duma bu mu war a am si àttekaay bi mu am ko foofu noonu parce que yoon foo yooyu jaaree yoon Amadou soo xoolee Gambia Police Force ñu ngi am police station yu bari jógee Banjul ba Basse bés bu nekk dafa am juróom nit ñuy dem si police station bu nekk di joxe foofu seen report su fekkee woon amul benn police station ku nekk da nga bugg a fajal sa boppam ku nekk da nga bugg a toppatoo sa affaire ku la def dara nga dem yow it nga fajal ko sa bopp kon imagine bankaana society la ñu
parce que yàlla bi ñu indi fii sax dafa indi ay sarta teg waaw tax na
te nit yi dañ dee def loo xam ne non àndut ak waaw waaye ñu ngi fi ba léegi
waaw absolument léegi mu xam ne lii nga def li sax nga xam ne moom bu naroon a fajal boppam dana am nu mu doon demee waaw waaye nag moom mi nga xamante ne moom moo saña du def nag moom am na patient waaye surtout nit ki
of course so loolu moo tax mu am solo trop pour foog ñu am muñ bi ñu toppa sarta yi su ko defee nag ñu def tafaar yi defkati tafaar yi ñoom tamit ñu am seen wàlla si àttekaay parce que loi yi ñu teral foofu noonu loi yi ñu ngi fa pour ñu gis ne kii ku def lu bon si ni duma bu mu war a am na ko
waaw ma bëgg a laajte dara parce que ku ñëw tooñ nit yow kuñ tooñ nga bëgg a react at that moment bëgg a fajal sa bopp est-ce que yow boo defee dara mun ngaa def dara si fayu boobu noonu ba yow tamit xëj na luñ la tooñoon sax du feeñati bu fekkee ne taxaw ngeen ci kanami lu waa yow da ngay ñàkk right bi nga amoon parce que ni nga buggee fajal sa boppal
Amadou naa la waa typical exemple mooy case buñ musoon a am nga am koo xam ne ñu ne daf doon sàcca essence 20 litre gallon la dee feesal muy yóbbu soo keroog borom garage la daal so garage bi ñu ebal ay apprentice ñu fanaan foofu noonu so kooku bu mu ñëwee ñu téye ko ñu takka ko ñu oo seen boss mu ñëw boss bi bu mu ñëwee léegi ñoom ñëpp ñu téye kooku noonu jël ay di ko dóor bañ kontaan ñu yóbbu ko police bu ko police si recevé si ñoom ñu jël seen statement ñu process case bi ñu yóbbu kooku lopitaan parce que yëg nañ ne mu ngi am ak gaañu nuñ ko yóbbee lopitaan balaa bët set kooku gaañu si lopitaan so ñoom it police yi oo leen ñu leen kaay leen si case bu ngeen reportoon fii leen soxla ñu ñëw ñu téye leen ñoom ñëpp ñu charge leen murder so xoolal ñoom dañ téye kii parce que dafa jël 20 litres of fuel loolu mooy seen problème ñoom waaye léegi mu ngi nii doon nañ kooku ba rey ko léegi ñoom ñu ngi nii mu toon mu olbatiku ñoom ñu ngi leen di yóbbu di leen prosecute foofu
parce que dañ bëgg a fayal seen bopp moo nañ koo téye ba pare yóbbu ko ci police bi bu boobaa sax xëy na ñoom li ñu doon fayit ne mënoon leen koy fajal waaye loolu mënta am far ñoom ñu def li nga xamante ne mooy
gis nga loolu mooy wisdom loi bi loolu mooy wisdom loi bi parce que soo xoolee loi bi foog that is what we call proportionality mooy nit lu mu def ak punishment lu mu am foog ñu méngoo yow 20 litres nga saaja wala dóor bañ la rey parce que because of 20 litres waxuma ne 20 litres pour nit ñi dem di saaja 20 litres gallon yi that is justified waxuma loolu waaye proportionality bi is not justified
daf si am
solo trop te loolu la dee xool waaye yow soo bëggee jël sa xol nga duma kooku noonu nga punish ko ni la neexee balaa ngay yëg kay nag kooku dee na ba pare
waaw mu ngi noonu moo tax day am solo ñuy waxtaan léegi suñu ay biir si suñ biir ñu waxtaan dafay am solo ñuy gindeeku wante ci yu mel nii moo tax programme bi mu jóg pour ñu waxtaan ci yu mel nii te incha allah comme niñ ko dooree ñu yàgg di ko def noonu lañ continuer di ko def diggante Eye Africa TV ak Gambia Police Force ñu continuer di waxtaan ak Gambien si ci lépp li nga xamante ne mu ngay xew ci réew mi ci wàllum sécurité wàllu kaaraange nuñ mun a dékkee suñ biir ci jàmm yenn jafe-jafe yenn problème yi nga xamante ne mu ngay xew ci réew mi ñu fexe nuñ koy wàññee donte ne sax comme Piaro nu mu ko wane dana jafe lool pour ñu jëlee fee yenn fitna yi yenn problème yi nga xamante ne mu ngay xew ci community bi ci dëkkaan yi waaye nañ ko mun a wàññi raise awareness bi ñu xam lu ñu war a def bu fekkee ne tooñ neen la wala yow am na ku daanu sa kaw am na li nga xamante sax ñoo ko def donte ne dañ la tooñ loolu dafay am solo bu baax a baax xam naa ne nag waxtu buñ ñu ciraloon jeex si na su ko defee dañuy bàyyi Piaro mu tàggatoo incha allah. Ben next week nañ continuer am naa ne topic bi ndax lu yaatu la ñu refel tamit ñu baax a baax ñi nga xamante ne call nañ joxe seen contribution loolu am na solo su ko defee Piaro I think our time is almost
jërëjëf Amadou dafa mel ni time bi te tamit engrais bi xaw naa bari te so xëy na su ñëwee next week dañoo continuer rek dugal si local language bi ñu tiri ko so waaye nag di jox nit yi ndax dox daje rek next week insha allah su ko defee suñ ñëwee rek ñu continuer si waxtaan bi
jërëjëf thank you so much Superintendent Lamin Njie moom moo yore kaddu Gambia Police Force ñu àndoon ak moom ci jotaay bi comme niñ ko yàgga di defee bu programme bi dooree ba léegi mu nekk nag li am solo ndax saa yu néew rek def di am lu bari li nga xamante ne def ko leeral ci programme bi te tamit ñu bari den see gis seen bopp feedback bi def te positif ci ñu bari ñu ngi leen di gërëm ci loolu tamit ci encouragement bi di leen wax jërë ngeen jëf su ko defee mbokk yi ñu gërëm leen sant leen ci ni ngeen di ànd ak Africa TV saa su ne suñu ay programme waaye surtout tamit ci programme bi mu nekk programme bu am solo ñu jox leen rendez-vous mooy dig daje incha allah next talaata bu ñëw ci same time same place ñu ñëw waxtaan ci continuer waxtaan bi ñu gën koo yaatal bu baax a baax di leen wax jërë ngeen jëfati ci safoo bi ak kóolute bi bye bye ba beneen yoon incha allah.
Welcome to Staples, the office superstore for all your office needs, office furnitures, office equipment, office kitchenwares, office stationery. Get all you need for your workplace. Office desks, chairs, workstation, conference table, computers, printers, monitors, sofas, filing cabinets, water dispensers, microwaves, ovens, air coolers, and lots more. Staples, the best superstore in the Gambia.
Star GSM has new arrivals of home appliances with 2 years warranty and a promotion on 2-way gas cooker, gas or electric at a cost of $10,000, which used to be $17,000, and a deeper freezer $10,000, which used to be $15,000. Stand fans rechargeable and at least for 8 hours. Different stand freezers, deep freezers from 140 to 400 liters. Blenders, original flat screens from 32 inches to 65 inches. At Star GSM, their appliances are original, durable, modern, and energy saving. Star GSM also have sports shoes, Timberland, and Scandals. Original perfumes from India, Churai and Andy Churai from Dubai. Star GSM offer its customers 25% discount on all smartphones, simple phones and HD receivers for national security forces, police, paramilitary, immigration, armed forces, customs, navy, etc. They also have maize powder, Dugula, at $900 per bag or $100 per kilo. Roast now and visit Star GSM at Westfield, opposite OJ Junction, Talindi Market, Tabokoto Traffic Light, or call 700-2494. Star GSM Electronics.
The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details, are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, of a unique gated community with 3 and 4 bedroom villas and duplexes. Just 5 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. Luxury, convenience, and accessibility are some of the reasons you should consider this great housing opportunity. With a clubhouse, a playground, access roads, and parking facilities available for your dream home or a valuable investment, you will find all you need at Airport Residency here in Olyunda.
South Africa Global is the first and biggest private estate developer in the Gambia and present in 7 other African countries. We take pride in leading innovation in all spheres of real estate sector in the Gambia and beyond. As such, we are launching the development of the first smart and modern office and retail towers in the Gambia called TAF Twins. The TAF Twins is located in the heart of the Kanifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive away from Banjul. TAF Twins is designed to have 5 floors of office spaces ranging from 50 square meters to over 1,000 square meters with 2 elevators, central air conditioning, 24 hours electricity and water supply, with the ground floor reserved for banking, supermarket, restaurant and coffee shop. For your bookings and reservations, please call now on 376-2333 or 776-2333. Thank you.
A transport to the other side of the world. A cargo worth millions, about 10,000 cars, and gigantic machines.
What the worst thing is can happen, somebody gets hurt, somebody gets in between.
With every vehicle, the risk increases. Less space, less time to react.
Most of the time, the problem is the height.
No other ship of its kind can carry so many cars and heavy stuff on a journey through the narrowest waterways on Earth.
You're nervous. Really, you're nervous. But you always have to keep calm.
A real mega